All right, we are walking to the coffee shop. So what's the truth about this Mars mission?
Well, they're not going to send people to Mars. I mean, they can't survive it. But they can make people think they're going to Mars. They go around to the backside of the moon, set up the base. Then they send their 1,000 people later. And then really develop the backside as a military structure.
How does this relate to China? China's now on the moon.
China is developing their own space station. And when they do, they're going to have it well armed, okay? And you're going to see the beginnings of other countries arming space stations, and there's going to be a space station war, okay? But whoever's on the backside of that moon is going to have the advantage, because then all they have to do is come around and knock anything out, you know what I mean? All the way to Earth, actually, and you're not going to see it coming.
Why is the U.S. allowing China to be on the moon? Is this something that they're just allowing to take place?
I don't know that China's going to be the one on the moon.
Okay.
It's this guy that's, this rich guy. What's his name?
Branson?
Yeah,
Richard Branson? Virgin Galactic?
Yeah, Virgin. He's the one that's actually funding this whole fucking deal. You know what I mean? And I don't know who he's
in terms of the Mars mission.
In terms of the Mars mission.
And we were talking about holograms. You were just saying CNN already has that capability.
They already use it, yeah, because there were scenes with Anonymous where the reporters were being confronted with the signs. And so in order to stop people getting other messages onto mainstream media, Wolf Blitzer was doing these interviews with his people, and they show up as a hologram on the floor of the CNN studio. So they're there, they're semi-translucent, and they're giving their live report, but that completely eliminates the ability to get other messages into mainstream media, which is what they were wanting to do. So at these anonymous campsites and things where people were like, the MSN is mainstream media lies to you, they're not representing reality. All of these images were getting projected into the consciousness of the people watching the TV program, and so they had to stop that. And in order to stop that, they created these holograms. So now we've got fully functional. I mean, from the view, I don't think Wolf Blitzer saw a hologram in front of him, but it was implied that he saw. He was acting like, you're right there, here's this hologram. The audience at home now is fully seeing, here's this hologram, we're fully into the holographic reality now, and it's just that fast. And it's into the consciousness of the people who saw it. Now they don't use it. Now they haven't been using it, but they used it during Occupy.
Right.
And to stop the messages from Occupy getting out into people's minds, even unconsciously, where you see the signs that says mainstream media lies to you. They don't want that. They don't want that advertisement out there. They don't want people to be triggered by that kind of thought. So they built the holographic interface.
Do you have a suspicion if the people are not real people that we would be seeing talking back to us, where would they be? If the story is not the real story as to where the people are going, the real mission, whether they're going to Mars or going to somewhere else.
Well,
where
stop and think about going to Mars. What would it require? I don't care if it's one person or four or however many. You cannot take enough life support with you. Water, air, none of that. You can't. You're going to have enough just to get there.
Unless there's already a base there established that they're not telling people about.
Well, I'm not thinking of this.
Right. And there may not.
Yeah, I don't think they're there, and I don't think they're going to go there. I think this is just another Machiavellian cover for something else.
So the people getting on board might find themselves...
People on board are going to have to be part of the deal. They're going to know.
Okay.
And they're going to be, they'll pretend like they're selecting from the world, but they've already selected who they're going to go before they ever put it out to the rest of the world.
And the whole idea of a Mars mission
I got it.
is about getting people excited about this idea that we're going to Mars. Meanwhile, that's the head fake, and the reality is we're weaponizing space. But we have to do it under the auspices of like, oh, here's this peaceful mission, we're going to make it to Mars. We've got to launch a tremendous amount of payload into space.
Right.
This is the excuse to get all that payload up there.
Have you noticed this?
And
This
it's a feel-good thing.
Their launch date is the basically the launch of the next solar cycle. Did you notice the oddity to that?
No, I didn't see.
Solar cycle 25 starts between 2022 and can go all the way up to 2025. That's why I've projected that. I think that could be the period of time for the next stage World War scenario. as we were just
They're
discussing.
putting the pieces in
Because
place.
there's a pattern between wars breaking out and solar cycles, which is something that I look at. So I'm wondering, how is this Mars mission connected to that, being that they've set it for that time period?
Well, they're putting their pieces in.
What are they expecting to happen on Earth? You know, as
Whoever controls the moon up there with military controls everything. Now they can knock every damn satellite out, and then where's everybody going to be technologically?
right.
Yeah, I mean, lasers move. Lasers are 186,000 miles per second. I think the moon's like 3 minutes away. Like, you can boom, 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 boom. You just take out satellites from the moon.
That all you have to do is where they have a field of satellites, all right, given distances for balance, so they stay. All they need to do is set up small nuclear explosions at those locations, and the EMP, whoop, they're all done. You don't have to knock them physically out.
You see, I think that explosion that happened in Russia with that meteorite exploding that
That's
devastated
another
all
thing.
those buildings.
They've used that.
Anonymous made a video right before that showing a nuclear weapons strike. Anonymous made this video. It's like,
Right.
what you did to Aaron Swartz and what you're doing to freedom of information, we're not going to tolerate it. So the G20 meets in Moscow. The day they're meeting, there's this massive explosion in the atmosphere above that town in southern Russia. When's the last time you've heard of a meteorite exploding with that kind of force? I've never heard of a meteorite exploding in the air with that kind of force. Ever. And I've got newspapers from when I was down in Arizona that there was a massive meteor. I've seen these kinds of
They
things.
explode anyway. They burn up.
Yeah, they burn up. So something else happened there.
Right.
The G8 or the G20 that was meeting in Moscow when that thing exploded. And this is all part of, there's an unspoken war occurring. And I'm convinced that we're not even on the tip of the iceberg when it comes to figuring out what's actually going on.
I think the war's already started, but it's a low key right now.
Right. It's a low simmer. But this is not a war where the
Right.
enemies are actually opposed to each other. I see it more like a war where it's let's get full production. Let's ramp up production. Let's
Test these things.
Yeah, we don't have to hurt each other. Let's use the Middle East as a test bed to launch all these new weapons systems. And China's not against the U.S. and Russia's not against China and Europe's not against Russia or China. Nobody's against each other. They're just looking for an opportunity to ramp up full production for a global control matrix that ties all the power into just a few hands, and then we'll have the war in the Middle
Who's
East.
the governor of California that became president? What was his name again?
Reagan?
Reagan did that here in this hemisphere. He would get Grenada and he'd invade all these places for the same reasons, until they could get the other parts of the world involved. And we're testing everything all the time, and of course that keeps American military with a given number of seasoned troops. Unless you season them, they're not that damn good.
Yeah.
It's a long-term plan. Well,